over there to Lunchbox.
$9.99.
And today we've landed right here in New York City.
Yay!
Joy and I, when we first started dating, one of our favorite things, great thing living on Long Island right outside of New York City is coming in and going to all the museums.
Yep.
And we love going to museums. It's one of our favorite passions. And the Museum of Natural History and the Met are two of our favorites.
Oh yeah.
One, because they're awesome museums. Two, because for New Yorkers, they suggested donations. And when we were young and poor, now we're just old and poor, you could just come and not pay the full price and just walk around and enjoy the museum, learn, as you should be able to learn. And the Met is amazing. And with all the journeys we've taken you along with, we haven't ever taken you to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And that's what we were going to do today. We were standing in front of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We're about to go up those stairs, go inside, bring you along.
Get a little warm.
It's cold out today.
It's windy.
All right, but it's going to be fun. We're so happy that you're joining us for this. We're going to look around. They say we're allowed to film in the Met, but not everything. So I don't know what we're allowed to film, what we're not. We're going to find out together. It's going to be a good day. So before we go in, if you could greatly appreciate it if you'd like the video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Comment down below who is your favorite artist. But it's time to do this. Step up. Let's go for this ride. The greatest thing about New York City art museums is, besides seeing art, the buildings themselves could be looked at as art. Look at that architecture. Joy's getting our maps, food, dining, family guides. Journey of the Middle Ages. They're the New York State residents, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut students. The amount you pay is up to you, but we suggest the following. And then if you are not, and general admission is $30, seniors $22, students $17. You might be concerned. You're like, going to an art museum, Joe. Is that like really up your alley? You like weird stuff, you like different stuff, you like world cultures. It is. Because you might not know. It's not just going to be a video today just looking at paintings. You see behind us, there's a whole Egyptian wing. We're going to check that out first.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that one. That was like one of my favorites.
It's one of my two favorite things here in the museum.
I think that's why this and what we said, the Museum of Natural History, is like our favorites.
Because you figure there's art through many different cultures, through many generations of humans. And they have a large Egypt section here on that. So we're going to go look at that. Making our way, we have a colossal statue of a pharaoh. And then there is a whole Egyptian art. The costume is to the American wing, to the right side of the museum. First thing in, we come to the tomb of Perneb. And and the Egyptian section is broken up like Egypt under Roman rule through different eras of Egypt. As we make our way into the tomb of the pharaoh, look at this. Dynasty 2381 to 2323 BC. They moved the pharaoh's tomb here into the museum because they have to do stuff like put a plastic to protect so people don't touch the hieroglyphics. We're about to go into ancient Egypt. Seeing the greeting brought from the estate of Delta Nile Valley.
So they're trying to like depict it of like what each thing should be. Back here.
It's the labeling what the hieroglyphics would have been. Removing the forepaw, sharpening the knife. We've been through there. Let's see what's through this way now. Seems to be less people in here.
I like the other one. Just seemed really.
I like this one.
But this one's kind of cute.
Here we have a statue chamber. Objects from the tomb of Perneb. And then what I like is if we peek through this little hole in the wall, we can see a statue of a person, a figure's behind there. And that's a seated statue of Nomarch, Idu II of Dendera. So I thought it was called sarcophagus. There, it's labeled as an Artemidora. And this is from 900 to 100 AD. See the plaster gilded with gold. And if you're wondering, Egypt, do they have any mummies? Yes, they do. We have a mummy, and this portrays a woman, as we can see, and she's holding a goblet and a bouquet. Little fragments of statues. It really is amazing knowing, like, this center thing is an iron razor, and you see it's like the handle of a knife. That the stuff we're looking at is almost 2,000 years old. Here we have a mummy of a youth, and it says, what's interesting is the inserted painting. And these aren't ancient Egyptian mummies right now. We are looking at from
80 to 180.
80 to 180. Like I said, Romans have come into Egypt. And you see these awesome statues from 1390 BC. When you bring your little kids here, don't let them see with their hands. We just saw a little kid touching the statue. Hieroglyphics everywhere. See, this room is a little darker because of the parchment. They have it in lower light so these don't fade over time. If you thought this was only gonna have one or two sarcophagus and mummies, oh no, we found another mummy. Another sarcophagus that has a mummy inside it. Another mummy. Another sarcophagus. And another mummy. I want my mummy. It does fascinate me. It's always weird to see these and know, like, oh no, this is someone's body. Someone lived, got turned into a mummy, put in their tomb, and now they live in New York City in an art museum. And like I said, it isn't just one room on ancient Egypt. It truthfully is a whole wing. Everything from mummies to chunks of walls. We didn't get the whole wall, but it's cool how they reconstructed the wall to show where the pieces would have been located. Imagine when they discovered the tomb, all the miniatures. It looks like so much stuff was smashed, but now it looks well preserved. Got more coffins, and the canisters, when they would make mummies, they put the organs inside of. We have 3 Rishi coffins. There's a lot of coffins throughout this whole exhibit. This guy, good carving, very jovial of a face. We have head and shoulders of an Osiris statue. Just head and shoulders, no knees and toes, no knees and toes. And like, looking at the size of the statues of these people, the statues get bigger and bigger. I know you're like, how much more grand could this section of Egypt get? Because this is pretty amazing. Another beautiful sarcophagus. You notice this carved granite. I know, you're like, but how grand does it get?
It gets so much more grander.
Should we show them?
Yeah.
As we enter, we have the Temple of Dender. Look how glorious this is. With the water, the 2 statues. You walk into this, it is amazing. And we're not looking at a tomb now. This is a temple. We are in their house of worship. So this depiction of the god Bes. One of my favorite statues in this area, because other statues all sort of look similar, but him with his tongue sticking out is a lot different than the other art.
So it also looks like he's more on temples of like childbirthing type of thing. So it's more like childlike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying kids stick their tongues out throughout all times in history?
Even when they're older.
Yeah, I see that, Joy. Even in a temple, people graffiti nowadays, but people always graffitied. Because on this we see Leonardo, 1820. Imagine Leonardo came across and went, you know what? I gotta carve my name into it. So did his friend. Into the temple wall. Positioned in the center of the temple is the statue, the priestess Tagarim. We have a watercolor of the Temple of Dender, 1848. And this would have been it actually still in Egypt.
In 1968, the temple blocks are basically created and shipped to here, and in 74 to 78, they're rebuilding it and making this whole wing for it.
Yeah, it says 67, President Lyndon B. Johnson awarded the temple to the Met. And then we see the temple partially submerged as a result of the first Awan Dam and the seasonal flood. So the temple we are looking at, there it is, actually sitting in Egypt. Here we see it, not flooded.
That's insane.
It's like coffin mummy, coffin mummy. So many coffins.
Yep, coffins.
It is interesting how it's like the mummy is a body wrapped, put in a coffin, put in a sarcophagus. It's like Russian nesting dolls, but with human bodies. From big statues to tiny little amulets. These are 664 to 30 BC. Intricate carvings. You're like, Joe, okay, we see in Egypt. Do they have other stuff? Well, actually, we're now in Byzantine art. And not just art, one of my favorite things, lanterns. Old oil lanterns. We definitely have left ancient Egypt. Byzantine, we're in Byzantine. Joy's trying to figure out where we are on the map. We're in 301 right now, Joy.
Okay. It's huge.
We are heading to my favorite part of this museum.
Which is
Right through this way. It's getting medieval. We cut through the medieval, take some in quickly. Here we have a statue of the Virgin and Child. Getting some religious symbols. As we go under Christ nailed to the cross, we're making our way into the Italian Renaissance to my favorite room, Arms and Armor. And you'd be like looking, then all of a sudden you'll come to one of these things. The Studiolo from the Ducal Palace at Gubbio, 1478 to 82. Imagine only 4 years was used. Beautiful work. Joy, I absolutely adore you. But here we have 4 adoring angels. Yep, this museum is much more than painting. Look, we have fountains. We are about to go in through the room, Joy, to armor. But there it is. My favorite room in the museum. The armor room. As we walk in, an organ above us. Men on horse charging to us with suits of armor and weaponry surrounding us. We have some armor from the 1540s. Now, look at all this metal. Imagine you go into battle. This weighs 45 pounds. You're trying to see through these little slits, wielding weaponry. Joy, how would you be fighting like that?
Well, you said it's like really heavy.
45 pounds.
And then on top of that, however heavy your sword is or whatever you're using.
I'm just trying to figure out how he even gets on the horse to ride horseback. I'm figuring he's riding horseback because he has spurs on. In the Wild West, they have Boot Hill Graveyard for men that died with their boots on. Do you think they had Armor Hill Graveyards for men that died with their armor on?
Or steel.
When we're at museums, there's a lot of things that are normal that you can see in all different museums, but I try to share with you the few things that are odd, a little different, quirky, should we say. And one of the pieces of weaponry here in this museum definitely fits that bill. As we look at this axe of the Grand Duke Ferdinand I, the Amici, we scroll down and we see a pistol attached to it. That's right. We don't have a bayonet on the end of his gun. We have a pistol axe combo.
Okay, so here I am. I'm thinking about this exchange. So we have mace, like pepper spray mace, but I want to get rid of that. I want to go back to like the olden days. Can't we carry around mace like that?
These suits of armor aren't just random. That they actually know this belonged to Emperor Ferdinand I, and who actually made it. Kunstlochner, Nuremberg's most celebrated armor of the period. We can see Virgin Mary with child, and some go to the left, some go to the right, some curve straight up. Jousting armor, we got even heavier, 91 pounds, 6 ounces. Armor was intended for use in the joust, fought in an open field by 2 contestants mounted on horses. And with this suit of armor, because we said it was for jousting, we actually have the horse's armor that he'd wear on top of his head. We saw regular steel armor, we also have chainmail armor. Schnazzy Smith & Wesson guns. No, the people with the armor wouldn't be wearing these. Different time period. We're looking at all the armor, all the weaponry. Have some flintlock rifles with the powder horns. We have some swords. I know it might not have been what it's intended for, but this middle one, if I was going to do some swashbuckling, that would be my sword. When you see swords like this, what do you think?
Princess Bride.
I was about to say, my name is Domingo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. On some of the firearms, look at the detail that was put into the carvings of the handles. In my mind, this is what Cupid shoots at people. Cupid's wielding a crossbow. Ouch. We have an awesome piece of armor here. You can see Medusa on the top, a mermaid siren coming over the ridge. But what makes this piece interesting is, as we can see in this writing here, the picture saying that when it was made, it was dated wrong. It was written that it was made in 1143 instead of when it was actually made in 1543. And we're not talking about the museum dating it. No, the craftsman that made this piece put the wrong date on his piece of art. Well, functioning helmet. Out of armor to the American wing. But this is what I mean, why this museum is so awesome. There is a building within inside the building. We have a group of bears. Do you think the Cartoon Network show was based off these 3 bears?
Yes.
Because these bears look cute and fat. We have a long-haired gentleman with the bear that at first you might go, oh, that's a Native American. No, he's just some bohemian bear trainer. Hanging out, with his long hair, chilling with the bear cubs. And we entered that little building and we have some furniture, powder horns, clocks. I love it. It's as if we literally are going into said house. Saying this bedstead, high post bedstead, made a craftsman in Eastern Massachusetts.
So it has like this building is supposedly dedicated to the decorative arts of like this settlement.
And it is cool because it's almost like we're going to take old historic buildings tours, mansion tours, where the rooms are set up as if we have been transported into these old buildings. Nice carved chessboard on the table. Someone's being bold. And that's why I like the Met so much. When you think of what defines art, we've seen ancient Egypt, we've seen American armor, we've seen the American wing. We're looking at stuff like chess sets, pianos. Some people might have thought this museum is just paintings. Nothing wrong with paintings. I love seeing paintings. But there's so much more to see in this museum. And this is so cool about this museum. We just walking through the medieval art area, and this is just tucked away. Kitchen and hearth. The medieval art area, the entombment. You see Christ here, passed away. You see where the spear entered, below his right pectoral. Where the Virgin is tiled, limestone. This is a good piece to explain. Whenever you go to museums, sometimes you see statues and they're all just single color. We see the paint. Imagine most of those were painted just over decades and years and hundreds of years. The paint wore away. We have a statue of St. Peter. A lot of other works of art, they don't portray him with this cool hat. I have a plan of what I want to see, then we just turn and I see cool stuff like ceramics and rooms that are set up. And I'm like, no, I want to head and check this stuff out now first. One of my guilty pleasures, I love taking big old grand mansion tours, looking at the rooms that are all done, so I love finding stuff like this. Ooh. So what did you say?
A room from a hotel on the Cours d'Albret, Bordeaux.
I have to say, I never stayed in a hotel room like that. Another cool item found that's weird, inkstand in the shape of a pomegranate. You could always use a good box you could put stuff in. Well, these are boxes you could put snuff in. That's right, a whole display case of fancy snuff boxes. Beautiful bedroom. The bed is the focal point. I just want to know, if I was sleeping, I don't want that many people sitting watching me sleep. A room from Vienna. Just imagine, they empty the rooms, recreate the whole room here. Well, I don't know how much of it is the room. I mean, obviously they didn't take the full wall. Come around another turn. You have Perseus holding the head of Medusa. We're in the Carroll and Milton Petrie European Sculpture Court. At time of recording this, one of the exhibits they have that's a temporary exhibit is a really cool thing. Artwork from artists who are working at the Met. So employees of the Met, this is their art. I love devils, and I like you to see who the artist is. Tommy Turner, Security. Sadly, by the time this video goes live, this exhibit will be gone, but I just wanted to document that they have really cool exhibits that run. So even if you come to the Met, you should go again, because you don't know what the new exhibit's going to be. We see like this photo is shot by Jonathan Lee for marketing. This print made by someone working retail. Cool piece. My neighbor's trash. We actually have LEDs in it. This was made by someone working here in the custodial. Michael Sump. You want interesting. Here by Patricia Ruman. She works retail. It's a self-portrait of a long Furby with a straw hat. Well, obviously it's not a self-portrait of her, but here we see the Furby, and he made his own self-portrait. Want a room of Greek pottery? They got that. Sometimes the missing parts of a statue make a statue even more interesting. And do not worry, if painting is your thing, they got that too. Like just come around the corner, you might see a piece from Matisse. Or a painting called Head of Woman, and it was Pablo Picasso. Some more Matisse. Perhaps Pollock is more your speed. They have some of his art too. Like I said, there is no art museum like this. Every famous painter you're gonna find something from. But then you have stuff like the Egyptian, the rooms that look like recreations from hotels, the armor. It really is one of the world's best museums. An Andy Warhol of 9 Jackies. And a Salvador Dali named Madonna. you can sort of see an ear, but then when we get close, we can focus in on the Madonna's face. Have a whole wall of Cézanne. Is still life's your taste? Get it? Because it's a food. This whole room is Cézanne, which is pretty cool.
It really is.
And then my favorite artist, Vincent van Gogh. Favorite painter, let's say. And a painting everyone knows from Seurat. Study for a Sunday on Le Grand Joute.
And it's really cool because actually in my school, we actually had like where somebody did the whole pointillism on our wall in the cafeteria.
Other artists specializing in pointillism. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Maximilian Luce. This was called Morning Interior.
More Van Gogh.
You just walk into another room, you're like, oh, just more Van Gogh. It's just like, some people go their whole lives without seeing a Van Gogh in person. We just went from one room to another and Joy goes, more Van Gogh. So nonchalant about it.
Well, I also think it's just because also coming here like from school class trips and then also when we come here a lot, it's just like, oh, well, we have Orleans.
Another extremely famous painting, Monet's Water Lilies. Joy, should I show it? It's just another Van Gogh as you said it. My favorite painter. Some Gauguin. Still life of a teapot and fruit. And the Water Lilies was later Monet. Here we have a whole room of early Monet. Who would have thought when we were down there looking at those suits of armor? Right up here, you remember I showed the organ? Well, that's because wrapping around is musical instruments. Some art, some functioning. I'm used to regular slide trombones. I never saw a tenor valve trombone before. Let's see, that's trumpet. But that's a trumpet too, a conch trumpet. Oh, my arch nemesis, the French horn. From 3rd grade through 8th grade, I played a French horn. I didn't play it well, that's why I stopped in 8th grade. And this is what Joy played, the violin. She even has one, but she won't play it for me.
Like that was so good, like the whole like sliding of the fingers or like only having one finger instead of it was amazing.
I never played violin, so I don't know. I wonder, do you think in this museum they're also going to have a fiddle?
Should. Same.
Yes, that's the joke, because that is good. The violin's a fiddle. Since you were good at playing stringed instruments, can you play a koto for me?
No.
Dang it. On the search of interesting things in the museum, check out this Japanese gong. So we have Oni bearing a Dora. So Onis are a Japanese demon and they're carrying the gong. Where's George Harrison when you need him?
Sitar.
It is a sitar. I've heard of grand pianos, but this piano is extra grand. Did you have fun at the day at the Met?
I did.
I have a confession for you all at home. We didn't show you everything. We showed you about a third. In case you don't know, I have a bad back, and the back said your day at the Met was done.
Well, not only that, there's a lot to show.
And that's the point I want to make, is that we showed you about a third of the things there is to see there. And I mean, and that's like a third of the rooms. We showed you like 1 or 2 items per room that might have had like 20 things.
Yeah.
And you saw a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, just think, you saw everything from an ancient Egyptian temple that's been reconstructed here to amazing Impressionism paintings. All in one museum.
Yeah.
And there's more to see. We didn't even get to the Chinese art, which goes from ancient China to modern. There is so much more contemporary art. European paintings.
More sculptures, more paintings,
There is
more furniture.
so
more
much to see.
everything.
This museum is amazing. It means that we have another trip that we could take here. And also, if you come just look at this as a sampling of stuff you could see. You could have all the surprises going into all these amazing rooms, looking at all this great art. I think we could call it though.
I think so.
Metropolitan Museum of Art. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels
Good eats.
and live life. Panther and her cubs. So, panther, also known as mountain lions, which is also sometimes a cougar.
And hi, I'm a cougar.